It's 8 o'clock in the morning and I'm on my way to school in West Delhi in Mhoan Gardens. I work at a school for poor children that was set up by Najafgarh 15 years ago. It's always an adventure because getting auto rickshaws to take you there is difficult when they hear how far flung an area it is, miles away from where I am really. My bed and breakfast, Jay's Inn, in Basant Bahar, a very lovely neighbourhood. Takes over an hour to get there. So it's not for the faint-hearted, I can assure you. I've been doing this for 4 years since I met Najafgarh. I actually prefer it to going in a car because you're close to the ground and you're with the people all around and every day is a new adventure. I come to India twice a year where I do projects with the children, either to do with music or art. I think about what I'm going to do as I sit in this rickshaw, as I rumble along. There was a great Matisse exhibition on in London and I thought, it's full of colour, it's full of vibrancy. It's something so different to anything I've ever seen. Matisse was a man that was very free. So I thought, well, the children I'm sure will pick up on this very easily. So I brought this very, very heavy catalogue with me to India and went straight to the school with it and showed it and explained who Henry Matisse was to them. All right, now what are we going to do today? We've done it once before. What are we going to do? His name, Henry Matisse.
Henry Matisse.
That's right. Now, where did Henry Matisse come from?
France.
France. Very, very good. And in his latter years, he did cutouts. Cutouts, which you've already done. They're all around the room, the ones you did the last time. Do you remember? And we had a lot of fun. Do you remember we did a room? So today we're going to do the same, but what we're going to do is concentrate on one of his designs. You're going to cut out these shapes by Henri Matisse. But he did this when he was a very, very old man. And you're doing it as very, very young boys, and 2 girls today, and that's great. All right, so I'm going to pass you all a piece of paper. You can do small ones, you can do big ones, okay? All of you. And pencils for all of you. Pencils for all of you. And if you need rubbers, I have rubbers, okay? Who needs a pencil or a pen? This is a good one. He's called the spirit of on your piece of paper. Do you understand? Color you like and name.
synonyms. क्या कहते हैं? Synonyms. ठीक है? शब्द कर रहे हैं। जैसे हमारा तालाब है, तालाब को हम सर भी कहते हैं, सरोवर भी कहते हैं और ताल भी कहते हैं, ठीक है। दूसरा आ गया हमारा चाह। चाह क्या होती है? हमारी किसी चीज पे इच्छा रखना, ठीक है, कुछ चीज पे इंटरेस्टेड होना। तो जैसे हो गया हमारा इच्छा। इच्छा को हम कहेंगे अभिलाषा और कामना। सेकंड है हमारा विलोम शब्द। विलोम शब्द हमारे क्या होते हैं? इंग्लिश में अभी सुनेंगे, पहले लिखना नहीं है, ठीक है। विलोम शब्द होता है हमारा अपोजिट वर्ड। जैसे किसी चीज को हम कह रहे हैं उसका बिल्कुल ही उल्टा विपरीत जाते हैं, जैसे विलोम शब्द में, ठीक है। जैसे किसी चीज का हमें प्रॉफिट होता है, उसको हम क्या कहते हैं? लाभ। उसका अपोजिट क्या होगा हमारा? हानि। लाभ मतलब क्या होता है? हानि मतलब लॉस। वेरी गुड।
The area is not huge, but yet it gives an idea of space. We have not cut up the whole place into small classrooms. And many funding agencies, when they have come to us, have often said, यहाँ आवाज आ रही है, इसको बंद कर दो, इसको बंद कर दो। मैंने कहा, that is the part of the strength. आवाज आ रही है तो बच्चे हैं, आवाज नहीं आएगी तो क्या होगा? And it doesn't disturb their teaching, it depends upon the teacher. And so we are, in a very small, limited area, we keep the illusion of space alive.
मैम, हिंदी में हमारे नंबर भी ठीक आते हैं और हमें हिंदी फेवरेट है हमारा। विलोम शब्द, लिंग बदलो और मैम वचन बदलो और मुहावरे, प्रवाची, ये सब मैम हमारे फेवरेट है।
सबसे फेवरेट मुहावरा कौन सा है?
मैम वो कहते हैं अकल का दुश्मन। अकल का दुश्मन मतलब एकदम मूर्ख।
तो यहाँ कोई आपके साथियों में कोई अकल का दुश्मन है?
मैम नहीं, सब ठीक है मैम। वो मैम अभी तक नहीं बोला, एक को बोला था एक बार।
सबसे ज्यादा मजा किस में आता है स्कूल में?
पेंटिंग में, ऊपर सीखा था आपके साथ।
Very good. Look, everybody. Yako. Look how good this is. This is very good. Now you write your name and you write the color you like. All right? Jaldi, jaldi. Very good. Now you've got to cut out. Very good. Cut. Very good. Sisters, do you want me to cut it for you?
मैम,
Very good. Push it over there. Blue is spelled right. Very good. It's spelled blue right. That's good.
कॉन्सोनेंट्स कितने होते हैं? बी ABCD के जो AEIOU है उसको छोड़ के जो बाकी बचते हैं, इन सबको छोड़ के जो बाकी बचते हैं वो क्या होते हैं? कॉन्सोनेंट। अब इसकी पहचान कैसे करेंगे? पहली चीज तो हमें ये फिलअप्स जो आएंगे इसकी पहचान कैसे करेंगे? एप्पल किससे स्टार्ट होता है? ए से। पहला वर्ड क्या है इसका? ए। क्या है ये? कोमल स्वर है ना? इसके आगे क्या लगाएंगे हम? ए कौन बताएगा? मैम, हाँ बताइए। गुड, कैसे आएगा बताइए आप मुझे, कौन बताएगा कैसे आएगा? ये मैंने पहले बता रखा है, अगर आपको याद हो। बताइए राहुल।
मैम, यूनिट को मैम हिंदी में लिखेंगे तो
गुड, यूनिट को हमने हिंदी में लिख लिया और ये हमारा क्या है? व्यंजन, कॉन्सोनेंट्स। तो हमें ये अक्षर जो यू है, ये हमारा इंग्लिश में वोवल्स है, लेकिन हिंदी में क्या है? ये कॉन्सोनेंट, ठीक है? तो इसलिए हमारा ए आएगा। फिलहाल हो जाएंगे क्लियर? ये सारे बच्चे जो है फिफ्थ क्लास के स्टैंडर्ड के हैं और इनको बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है इस समय एजुकेशन की, जो इनको गवर्नमेंट स्कूल में नहीं मिलती। तो यहाँ पे जो हमारी एनजीओ इसी बच्चों के लिए ही बेसिकली काम करता है, क्योंकि ये बच्चे पढ़ना चाहते हैं लेकिन उनके पास कोई रिसोर्सेज नहीं होते। जो नॉर्मल प्राइवेट ट्यूशन होते हैं उनकी फीस बहुत होती है, तो ये लोग पे नहीं कर पाते इस चीज़ के लिए। तो इन बच्चों को हमारा यही टारगेट है कि इनकी कई बच्चों की कैचिंग पावर बहुत अच्छी है, जो एक बार में ही कैच कर लेते हैं, जैसे कि राहुल, पंकज, जितेंद्र, कई बच्चे ऐसे हैं जो फर्स्ट टाइम में ही कैच कर लेते हैं और ये बच्चे बहुत आगे जा सकते हैं इस चीज़ में। और कई बच्चे हैं जो आते हैं गाँव चले जाते हैं, तो उनके बीच में उनका जो है सिलेबस डिस्टर्ब हो जाता है, उनको दोबारा कोचिंग दोबारा करानी पड़ती है।
मेरी ड्राइंग बहुत अच्छी हो गई पहले से। मैम आज ड्राइंग फाइल नहीं लेके घर पे आए, मैम कभी लेके आएंगे? मैम कल आओगे आप?
मैं आऊँगी
कल मैम, कल लेके आएंगे, आप देख लेना। 5 साल से छोटे थे जब ना, तब से ऐसे ही करते थे अपने बैठे बैठे। वो कुछ बोलते हैं, अच्छी ड्राइंग तेरी कर लिया कर, मना नहीं करती मैं मेरे पेरेंट्स।
Okay, remember with your spray, you choose a colour, any colour, and then you spray, give it a shake, and then do it from a distance, distance, not too much, small, little, that's it. Fill in the middle. That's enough. That's enough. Very good. Now, where's your other ones? What are your other ones? Okay. Somebody else.
We were teaching in various slums, first in the tribal pocket where we were working, because we find that education is something that is always needed. And then for an NGO, it's a good entry point. That's not where you find any resistance from any community. There's usually resistance from all communities, wherever you're working, however underprivileged. I was a member of an NGO club. There were some tribal women from the northeast who were members of the NGO club. They took us to Mhoan Garden, Nagar, because they wanted DRAG to intervene on their behalf on several issues. And I said, my God, this is as desolate an area as any, as deprived. Migrants were coming in, the poverty was enormous. Why not come here? And then the idea of getting a grant, when the grant was on, why not buy a space here? That's how it began.
क्योंकि 2 बच्चे मेरे पढ़ते ही नहीं थे ना, घर में रहते थे, तो फिर इसलिए मैं यहाँ पे काम पे भी लगी। तो फिर मैंने कहा इधर ही मैं बच्चों को स्कूल भी डाल देती हूँ, पढ़ भी लेंगे, मेरा काम भी हो जाएगा। 11 बजे तक मेरा काम रहता है, 11 बजे बच्चों की छुट्टी होती है, तो फिर इसलिए मैंने यहीं पे डाल दिया दोनों बच्चों को। बच्चे पढ़ते भी हैं यहाँ पे, अच्छा सीख गए हैं पढ़ना, कुछ नहीं आता था पढ़ने में, अब सीख गए। मेरे पति थी, प्लम्बर का काम करते, रजौरी गार्डन है ना, वहाँ पे काम करते थे स्कूल में, सफाई कर्मचारी, तो उसमें काम करते थे। तो फिर वहाँ से छूट गई उनकी नौकरी, तो फिर उसके बाद फिर ऐसे ही खुली मजदूरी है, ये भी ऐसे ही है, प्लम्बर का काम, मतलब पक्का नहीं है, ऐसे ही बच्चों का पेट भरते हैं बस कर देते हैं। 7 बेटियाँ हैं, तो पढ़ेंगी लिखेंगी नहीं तो कैसे आगे गुजारा होगा, पढ़ेंगी तभी तो आगे कुछ करेंगे। बोलती है लड़की, मम्मी सबकी मम्मी आती है, आप क्यों नहीं आते लेने? मैंने कहा मैं तो स्कूल में ही रहती हूँ, मैं क्या लेने आऊँगी? कहती नहीं, क्लास में से लेने आया करो। मैंने कहा ठीक है। एक दिन आ गई थी, इसकी तबीयत खराब थी, तो बोली कि मम्मी आज आए हो आप लेने के लिए। इसका नाम है शिवानी, इसका ईशू, 2 गई भी उनका ईशा रिया।
और वो कितनी उम्र की है?
एक है 9 साल की, एक है 8 साल की।
और तुम?
मैं 11 साल की हूँ।
13। ये बड़ी बेटी है,
सबसे बड़ी?
हाँ।
इसका बाल इतने अच्छे, कहाँ सीखा था इसने?
ये खुद ही बनाती है अपने आप।
कहाँ सीखा तूने?
पार्लर में, पार्लर कोर्स कर रखे हैं। चलो अपने अपने घर जाओ, नहीं पढ़ना चले, चलो अपने घर पे पानी ये बोला पढ़ना।
हेलो
हेलो, चलो चलो चलो।
स्टार प्लस की नाटक देखते हैं डेली।
साथ ही निभाना साथिया, ये रिश्ता क्या कहलाता है, दिया और बातें हम, ये वाले। अच्छा। और ये तू मेरा हीरो नया नाटक स्टार्ट हुआ, लेकिन देखते नहीं है वो वाले नाटक, अच्छे नहीं लगते हैं।
कभी कभी
सिर्फ हम 1-2 घंटे टीवी देखते हैं, फिर बंद कर देते हैं। 2 घंटे बस, वो भी मुश्किल से। नाटक तो हम देखने नहीं देते, इसके पापा कहते हटाओ, तुम्हारा तो रोज नाटक आते हैं, मुझे पिक्चर देखने दो।
मेरा कार्टून है और मम्मी का नाटक है और बताऊं पापा का पिक्चर।
अच्छा।
तो मेरा
तेरा तो पता ही। गाने गाने गाने।
अब सिलाई कौन करता है?
सिलाई मैं करती हूँ। नए कपड़े लाते तो उसको मशीन मार लेते हैं,
मम्मी
उससे जल्दी फटते नहीं है ना, मशीन लगा लेते हैं। कपड़े लेके आते हैं ना नए, तो उस पर एक बार सिलाई लगा लेते हैं तो जल्दी फटते नहीं है, डबल सिलाई हो जाती है ना, इसलिए।
मम्मी।
My life in Switzerland is rather mundane. It's full of very high society people, living very comfortably, no cares in the world, very, very, very privileged, very important businessmen, actors, actresses, celebrities, people that want to live a slightly incognito in this absolutely perfect bubble. Now, since I've been coming to India, I find I've become quite restless of this kind of life. I like it for a short period, especially the summers. They're so beautiful because you can go on lovely walks up into the high mountains. And also the days are long and it's carefree. But the winters, it's party, party, party. And I become restless. I have to admit it. And my family say I've become restless. My husband accepts it. He says, you've got to do what you've got to do. But I am. I find I have more energy. The more I do, the more I can do.
सिर्फ 1 मिनट में भेज रहा हूँ ना, सिर्फ 1 मिनट थोड़ा लेट हो रहा।
As in our tribal pocket, we wanted to make the local community conscious of their rights. We galvanize them around certain issues. Latin American activist Paulo Freire says, uses the word conscientization. Reflection, action, reflection. We began adult education classes because, again, education is something that draws people in. They were drawn in on that, but we were basically making them conscious of their rights. I said, you have entitlements to this, this, this. Water, you are entitled to electricity, you are water. Dozens of things, but your MLA is not giving it to you. Put pressure on him, do this, do that. So around that, it was more an advocacy and conscientization exercise, which later on, because of the demands of the women, they come from a certain strata where income is of prime importance, and so they wanted to take up jobs. That is why they asked us for training in either, it really began with the more traditional methods of tailoring, stitching, knitting. Later on, computerization, when we started getting somewhat more educated women, they wanted computerization. Then again, language was a problem, so we brought in English language classes, which Patricia has been involved in with these women. So it has continued to evolve.
अगर आपकी शर्ट पीस में अगर नीचे बॉर्डर दिया होता है आपका, तो आपको बॉर्डर को ध्यान में रखना होता है. उसके बाद ही आप मार्जिन रखोगे. इसमें आपको बॉर्डर देगा तो आप बॉर्डर को इंक्लूड करोगे बीच में और पूरी लेंथ में कपड़े को नहीं लोगे. ठीक है. अब आप क्या करोगे, आपकी 38 लेंथ है तो आप इसमें सिर्फ 1 इंच प्लस करोगे, क्योंकि नीचे टर्निंग आपको दी हुई है, और बॉर्डर से नीचे तक लेके ऊपर तक आपने 38, 39 ले लेना है. और अब आपका क्या आता है, लेंथ के बाद आपके पास आता है तीरा. आपका तीरा आता है ये.
Our plan was to have the women's center and the school in the same building, but we got opposition from local quarters. And while we were halfway through, the police came and asked us for a demand for a bribe and stopped our building. We refused to give the bribe. And I told the Japanese, listen, I'm not going to give them the money. They won't allow us to complete the building. With the balance money which I already have, 50% had been spent on that building. Let me buy another place of land where the land titles are clear.
It's good to be a part of people, to teach them what they really need in their coming life. Because in a very limited expenses, they can learn many things. With the help of that, they can earn.
It's settled much more than when I first came. We've got much better people in charge. And I think that means a lot. I mean, the Mrs. Sharmas of this world virtually don't exist anymore. And she's created her little niche. All of these children are like her babies. And she's very smart in her old-fashioned ways. She's very smart and very sensitive and very professional. Who has not been up? Put your hands up. You haven't been up. You haven't been up. You haven't been up. You have been up. At the end of a hectic week at the school, my big treat is to go with Gautam on his Sunday trip to his model farm in the wastelands of Manger, Haryana.
Will you come and distribute it? You've organized it, haven't you?
No, I haven't yet, because you haven't given me my orders today yet.
Right, now you are being given them.
Okay, Sab.
Still life there.
These came from your tree, didn't they?
Which one?
The apple tree.
It's news to me.
Oh, it's the apple tree. Don't spoil it. It's amazing. Feroz made the most amazing from his tomatoes.
Right.
He made tomato sauce. Sandwiches.
That's for one person.
Non-veg. We've got aloo paratha.
Non-veg.
Non-veg. My God. It's all homegrown stuff. Come and have your meager breakfast.
my concern was basically to do with poverty. And when I set up the school, when we set up the women's center, it was how they could get out of that poverty trap. Farm is part of the same syndrome. Patricia, this is part of the Aravalis, the oldest mountain chain. We are driving on top of the Aravalis.
Well, the Indians have always written their poetry, a lot of poetry, and it's always been mentioned a lot in books, hasn't it? The Aravalis.
And that's news to me. You've been reading up, Patricia. There in the distance you can see our farm, the clump of trees, just against the Aravalis. And all the entire village has changed. It was not such pakka structures. In fact, when I used to drive down, there was not even this wall. And very often you found a truck or two down the hut. There you can see some murals, but there's a religious one, but they have lovely secular ones as well. Now you can see Shivaji there, Hanuman, Shivaji, Rani of Jhansi, Rana Pratap, I think. Main part of the farm, main part of the village is on our left. We are going to the right. Right is the area where it is much more barren and rocky and uncultivated. So that's the patch we chose, because we wanted to demonstrate that absolute barren land can be made productive. And all this was kacha. When we came in 1998, we wanted to demonstrate to the farmer that this can be reclaimed by growing trees. And as I've said in the book, fuel wood, fodder and fruit trees. And if you have all these, your needs are met. The needs for survival are met on 2 acres. And 2 acres is chosen deliberately because that's what 80% of farmsteads. Farm owners are small and 80% of farmers own that size of land. So we want to show how 2 acres can be made sustainable. Now, people when you say sustainable, sometimes they think surplus and selling their produce. No, we say 2 acres can feed a family of 5. That is what we have tried to show. Drag is essentially involved in tackling the issue of poverty. And in that, when you're tackling poverty, how do you make such barren stretches viable? One of the projects that I had gone to study under the Wasteland Development Board, I came on to the NGO sector because after I moved from journalism, I set up a development concern in which we took up field studies. In the field studies, we were given a lot of projects that dealt with wasteland reclamation. At that time in 1985, the government was saying that there's so much waste land lying around, why are we not cultivating it? What are the problems involved? What are the issues? So the government, which had appointed me as a consultant, enabled me to travel to all the remotest regions in the country. And there I found people growing a combination of trees. And over a period of time, we realized that if you grow a combination of them, you can make that land sustainable with minimal input. You see, you don't require nothing except water. And we have gone in for the organic method, so we don't need any kinds of inputs, no industrial inputs. So the farmer has to spend nothing. He has to make sure that there is irrigation available. See, all this land was just pebble and stone. And there's not an inch of soil. But over the years, because of these falling leaves, mulch, look at the layer, it's 4, 5, 6 inches thick layer of soil we have. So, just the trees, what they have discarded has made this soil rich. It's absolutely rich land now. So it takes time. This is what the help that you have to provide to the small farmer to take to cultivation. It's a losing proposition. See, this is the other thing. The problem is, if you grow trees, to be honest, it will not be taken up immediately. Why? For the simple fact that you need 2 to 3 years gestation period for the trees to come to some kind of height and provide some returns. Now these farmers who are living hands to mouth, they don't have 2 to 3 years. So we have been campaigning with the Planning Commission. As you know, Patricia, it's also in our booklet where we won the award. We have pointed out that they must come and provide Narega schemes here. If you have 100 days of work employment, which you are paid the minimum 150 rupees a day, I think it's more now, then those farmers can take up cultivation of wastelands. It is their land. They have control over it. But they just leave it lying, or they sell it to others. As I know, since we are very close to Delhi, much of the farmland, as you can see here, is being bought by Delhi guys. The study I did for wastelands points in this direction. Get the panchayats involved, gets all of them involved. They'll be very happy to help. Whereas the government gives such enormous incentives to industry, bends over backwards for the corporates, bend over backwards sometimes for the poor farmer. Let them grow trees. This is one model. I'm not saying this is the only model. Let's not get carried away. It is certainly a model. Whoever has lived here has got all his inputs from here. Family of 5, they all live comfortably. You have a couple of goats, a cow, you live, mixed farming, wonderful life. Patricia wants to leave her place in Italy and Switzerland, come and live here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I have told her that it sounds easier said than done, and so don't dash down just now. Just investigate the area a bit more. You can see kikar and dhak. Now these are local species. The rootstock in this whole ridge area is so enormous and huge. You don't have to plant new trees. You just give them protection. Protection means you just build a boundary wall. They'll all come up. But you see here is subabul. Subabul grows the fastest, grows huge and mammoth, and look, it gives you fodder. People ask, what is the fodder species you have? Subabul. And remember, this is a Gujjar village. Gujjars are not agriculturalists, they're pastoralists. Their money comes from essentially animals. They sell animals, goats. They can survive on scrub forest. But the cows and buffaloes, which is their real wealth, that requires feeding. For that, subabul. So subabul dominates, but we have a lot of other species. Now take shisham. Shisham is another, it's a hardwood, but it grows very fast and it's all there. Now this can be an economic return. You see, here a farmer can get an economic return from his hardwood. See there, that was an owl. There you can see the little fellow. You remember, Patricia?
I do, absolutely.
You took a shot of him and you put him on Facebook. And all those guys wrote to me saying, who is this guy? I said, it's Ullu, my cousin. Why Ullu? There he is.
No, he's not. He's on another tree just over there.
Yeah. Our class needs to join either politics or do something for the farming community. People who come from privileged backgrounds should break away from privilege and do things that challenge them and they can impact the destinies of the country. It means a certain amount of risk. It means giving up a bit of your comfort zone. Well, it's well worth it. As Patricia will tell you, she's given up a bit of her comfort zone, hasn't she?
Sure have.
Here's a duchess amongst us. Am I right?
Very much so.
In fact, when I first came back from England, I went straight to Haryana. I started living in this village that my father, through a DC, organized for 6 months. But of course, I was getting money from home. My father said, I think you should get employment now. In the meantime, this interview came up at the Times of India. They gave me an assistant editor's job, but it was in Bombay. I was there for 15 years. I was getting fed up by writing a whole series of development stories and no one did a thing. I thought when you are young that you are able to upset or disturb the status quo, that you would be able to challenge the government if you were writing for something like the Times of India or the Indian Express. But I realized nothing really changed. Even the people against whom we wrote didn't even bother to read it. And I found a lot of my friends were in the development sector, many from school, like Dunu Roy, Bankar Roy. And I had a direction, that is the direction that I wanted to go. But I still had to earn a living.
Well, it happened when I got married, when I was 26 years old. I entered a world that I'd actually never been aware of. I never realized I'd married a a man who had a huge estate. Well, it all sounds very grand and marvelous, but it's an enormous responsibility because I'm in the south, and in the south of Italy, it's quite different to the north of Italy and always has been, much poorer. So you're dealing with a poorer group of people. So it is so like India. So I had to grow up immediately and get to know how they clicked and how to deal with them, because I had a lot of people to deal with, whether it was the farmers, whether it was the staff, whether it was the people of the village, the children, all the time. And you have to be ready to accept that this isn't going to happen. So you find another way of dealing with it. You reinvent yourself and you reinvent it. Challenging, but wonderfully exciting.
During the emergency, the press was asked to bend, it crawled. So yeah, the desire to continue to be in this sector was leaving me. Then I set up a consultancy agency, which is where the government, private sector funding agencies, I got tons of assignments, and I created a corpus fund for myself. Then I started the NGO. I would like to tell you, NGO has created a corpus. I don't have to depend on any funding agency. But first 10 years, I met everyone and raised a lot of money, have created a corpus, and many good friends like Justine Hardy and others have helped me out. This farm, the school, the women's center can be run on the corpus.
What made you get in touch with corpus? Where did you hear?
Well, I have a friend called Jonathan Foreman in London, and he said to me, when you go to India, you must meet this man called Gautam Vora. He's very interesting. Well, I didn't, because I was very involved in what I was doing at my other school.
Every time she used to cancel, I was not able to figure out why, and I said, why is she hassling me? I mean, if she doesn't have the time, why is she? But I think you must ask her that.
I will. And then I thought one day, oh, I must ring him. So I rang him, and he said, come for tea at the IIC. I thought, oh, can I be bothered to come up from Bashapur for tea at the IIC? No. Absolutely not. And this happened 3 times, so I absolutely stood him up 3 times.
Jonathan lives in Switzerland, and Patricia also lives there. And I think that's where they talked about drag and its antics.
And then one day I was driving up to Delhi from the old school, and I suddenly saw the sign, Vasant Vihar. And I thought, God, I think that Gautam Vora lives in Vasant Vihar. So I rang him up and I said, oh, hello, it's Patricia. I thought he was going to say, go to hell. I mean, he said, why didn't you come round? So I said, well, is it easy to get to you? Because I hadn't been there. He said, yeah, come round. So I went round, and it was about 10:30 in the morning. He said, have a rum. So I thought, this is a very odd character. I think he's an extraordinary man. I think he is, he reflects very carefully and very cautiously on whatever he does. He has enormous integrity. He's very modest. He's always stands back on things. And I think that everything is working well.